Alright, welcome back. Well, today is June the 19th and I just brought in my first red watermelons of the season out of the field. So that is maybe a week or so earlier than normal. We also started picking my purple hull peas today, so kind of ironic that we started on the same day. I feel like the cantaloupes will be maybe tomorrow. I thought all along that the cantaloupes would be ready before the watermelons, but almost the same time. So once we get all that coming in every day, that's when it really gets hectic and really gets a lot of people coming here, and a lot of work, a lot to organize, a lot to do, but that's what we do, that's what we're here for. So it'll be like that pretty much the rest of the summer, I hope. Okay, these are our red watermelons, a couple of bins we got sitting out for the retail customers. Brought in a few sacks of peas. They're kind of scattered now, but there was enough ready to get started. We'll pick some more this afternoon and start on the pea sheller tomorrow morning. All right, these are the first yellow watermelons out of the field. They look pretty nice. They're a little more roundish. The reds are a little more oblong. Okay, back on the tractor, and I've got to do a couple of different steps on sweet potatoes here before we kind of lay it by, and that'll be the last things we do. I'm going to, right now, putting out fertilizer at basically 21 days after transplanting. Putting out my nitrogen ammonium sulfate, and then tomorrow I'm going to probably come back with another soil insecticide. I'll plow it in, which will plow in the fertilizer and the soil insecticide, just kind of give it another protective layer, and then I'll come over the top with dual desmetolachlor as a pre-emerge lay-by, and then we'll probably water it in. There's a rain in about 5 or 6 days maybe, but it's getting pretty hot, so we'll probably go ahead and water it in and try to activate the chemical, plus it needs some water. So that's kind of the plan on these next couple of days on the sweet potatoes. Once that happens, we're done with the potatoes other than spraying, pulling some weeds when we need to, and watering. You can see I got the fertilizer buggy behind me. You've seen that plenty of times before. Sweet potatoes look pretty healthy. We had a really good stand as far as survival rate on the transplants, so I'm happy with that. In years past, sometimes we have some skips and some dead spots that didn't make it. It kind of all fills in with vines. You don't ever really notice once the vines cover the ground, but you'll notice it when you're harvesting, when you get to some skips. But anyway, they all look pretty good to me. We've got this middle turn row right here, and then we've got them on the other side over there. I plowed them once about a week ago just because we had some little weeds coming up, and then I'll, like I just said, I'll plow it again once we get the soil insecticide down. I don't remember if I mentioned it in the videos before, but the sweet potatoes take about 100 to 110 days from transplanting to harvest. So we usually cut the vines around 100 to 105 days, let them sit a little bit, and then start on the harvest. So when we plant around the end of May, 1st of June, that puts us at harvesting around the 3rd week of September, plus or minus a little bit. You know, tractor time is some of the best time for me to talk to the camera because I don't have any distractions. We've been open at our produce stand maybe 10 days maybe, and just about got all the crops ready. So it's so hectic and busy when I'm there, it's hard for me to film. I'm gonna maybe get my wife to do some filming here in a couple of days. But just to give you an update, if you've been watching the videos consecutively, we have planted our 7th planting of peas, so I have one more that I'm going to get planted the last week of June, and then that will finish out 100% of our planting. The young melons, we have plowed them. We have ran that hood between the rows like I told you we were going to. I didn't get that on the camera. And then we watered them. We watered them at night, so I didn't get that on camera either. So they're really taking off fast, especially now that it's as hot as it is and they've got good moisture. All right, you can see we're using my furrow plow, which is basically just kind of big middle busters to plow these sweet potatoes. I put out the second dose of the soil insecticide right before this, so we're kind of incorporating that in to give it one more seal of protection, as well as kind of incorporating that fertilizer in that we put out too. Another thing this middle buster plows will do when we're plowing is, you know, it kind of builds that bed up, throws up more dirt, and gives it plenty of dirt. Good tall row with plenty of dirt on the sides for the potatoes. Some of that may get washed away over, you know, the time with if we get some hard rains or something, but when the vines are covering the field, that'll probably reduce some of that. When you're furrow irrigating, you're not going to lose too much of that. So, but it, you know, you need to have plenty of dirt there, and this is the last chance that we can do anything about it. So we throw up a pretty big, tall, wide bed around those potato plants. Okay, here I was doing my spraying with my tomato sprayer. I don't think I've showed you all my cucumbers. We trellis them and keep them standing up, you know, so they're just hanging there amongst the leaves, so they're easy to see. Here are the eggplant, same thing. We stake them and tie them and keep them standing up. You can see all the little baby eggplant. You can see how tall they are too. They're probably 5 feet tall, at least. They're almost like little trees. On the tomatoes here, it's kind of hard to see. Sometimes when you're right up against the row, you kind of need to step away from it a little bit and see, but you can see on that second row over there, kind of when you step back from it, how many green tomatoes are all hanging there. So they look pretty with the sun shining on them. Same with the cantaloupes. You can see those big cantaloupes sticking up out of the leaves. So we're gonna have lots of cantaloupes this week. All right, here's a little up close, better view of the young melons. You can see where we watered them on one side of the row. It's a little more darker, that's still a little bit wet, or not wet, but wetter than the middles. Everything's pretty clean right now, weed-wise, but it's probably not gonna stay that way. If we don't get some rain, just a shower or something to incorporate these chemicals, they're not gonna do nothing. My last two plantings of peas have not had any rain at all on them to activate their chemicals, and one of them is already getting weedy. You can tell that it's probably lost all of its effectiveness, whatever it was going to do, because it never really got activated. I hope this doesn't happen here. The melons look really good though. I'm not sure what I'm going to do though. It's possible I could water every middle all the way down and try to activate it. That's really my only option other than just wait and see. We had a little bit of rain chances this week, but they've kind of taken it away. It's going to be right at 100 degrees all week. If we don't, if we don't get any activity in all these skips over here, it's not going to stay that way. The planting number 6 on the peas is the last one that did not get any rain on it, 6 and 7. 6 is where the weeds are coming up, so I think I'm going to go ahead and plow that. It won't get the weeds right on top of the row. But here the vines are coming out. We can't do anything else to it really. We always hoe it a little bit anyway. I just get nervous whenever it's a possibility of something not working chemical wise, and then you could be left with a mess. All right, fast forward a few hours, I decided to go ahead and water, try to activate the chemicals. Man, it's hot. It's 100 degrees. I'm out here by myself Sunday afternoon, all the help's off. So I've watered all the middles. I'm gonna leave the drive rows, not water them. We can plow them if we need to. I just need to try to get that activated. So let me show you what I'm doing here. All right, we'll scoot over here. This is where the tractor goes, right there. So I'm not gonna water that, but every section I'm gonna water every row, whether it's got a melon on it or not. It's been 5 days since we put the chemical out with no rain really in sight, so we're going to use the same well to water my sweet potatoes. We're doing that tomorrow, so I want to go ahead and get that out of the way today here. I'll check it at dark, and it needs to soak the beds all the way to the top, to get the moisture all the way to the top of the bed, so it needs to run a while. I'll check it at dark, and if it's not enough, or if I don't think it'll hurt anything, I'll leave it till about 5 in the morning. This is not the ideal way to do this, but you don't have any rain coming. I've had to do it before, though I've never done it in the melons like this. I've done it in the peas before. It's better than nothing, so we'll give it a try, see if it works. I might be thinking, well, you complain about the rain and now you're complaining about it not raining. Well, normally we get a shower this time of year, once a week, even if it's not that much, that would keep the chemicals activated. But it's been over 15 days, really, since we had all that flooding. We haven't had any rain, so it's kind of feast or famine. So it's kind of a catch-22. You don't want a bunch of rain, but you need a rain to activate your chemicals. Some of that I put out early on my oldest watermelons, I know that all that rain washed a lot of that herbicide away, because you can tell it looks like it hadn't hardly had too much chemicals at all. So it's, like I said, sometimes it's feast or famine on all this. When we do come back and water just the watermelons, normally we'll just put it on one side of the row and put 2 holes in it, and makes it go faster, and it'll zip on down to the other end. So we have to plug all these holes now, which is one reason why I didn't want to do it, but that's what the plugs are for. So like I said, I don't think I really have any choice other than wait it out, and I don't think we're getting any surprise rain this week. Okay, back the next morning. Obviously you can tell that it's all wet. We skipped the drive row, so everything right here is wet. It looks like it soaked it pretty good. It's all wet at the top of the beds. I ended up cutting it off about midnight, and so I think that'll help. Sometimes I worry about putting out too much water on these little melons, because you have to let it run a while to soak it, but it's gonna dry it out fast, as hot as it is right now. So that seemed to work, I hope. Okay, I let the sweet potato water run all night. Getting ready to cut it off. Checked it on the other end. It all ran down pretty good. So soaked the beds. We put the hole in every row. Let it soak both sides of the bed. You know, to incorporate the chemical. If we weren't incorporating the chemical, we would have put in probably 2 holes in every other row. But this way it soaked both sides of the bed. You can hear it when the water's cut off. That vent right here on top kind of releases all the air and it pressures it down. And it's off. All right, they're bringing in cantaloupes every morning now. This isn't all of them either. We already just took one bin off and took it inside, and they got to get some more. So it's a lot at one time on the cantaloupes. I wish they would spread out a little more, but of course we have a lot of different plantings of them, but they tend to all get ready generally at the same time, but they're pretty big ones. All right, we're getting ready to open the door. Got a lot of people out there waiting at 8 o'clock this morning, ready to come in. So we're gonna wrap up the video today. If y'all will like and subscribe, I would appreciate it. The next video is probably gonna be focused all in here, kind of show you what goes on in here. So thanks for watching. See y'all next time.